And welcome into this edition of ACAP Today for the week of March 13th, 2023. I'm Jason Parent with the Aroostook County Action Program. On this week's edition of ACAP Today, our feature interview is going to look at ACAP's new supportive housing project, a first of its kind project for here in Aroostook County that will bring 13 new supportive housing units to Presque Isle and to Aroostook County, as well as the new permanent home of the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center for individuals experiencing homelessness here in Aroostook County. We're going to talk about that project with two ACAP team members and an honorary ACAP team member, a BRSA spokesperson, who's going to talk with us about the work that they've done to get this facility ready. We're going to be turning it over to a contractor early next month, and we're celebrating ceremonially this week with a sledgehammer swinging celebration, which we'll talk about in the feature interview in just a bit. But before we get to all that, we're first going to turn to this week's news and information that you can use again for the week of the 13th of March, 2023. And we begin in the news and information that you can use by reminding folks that we are in the special enrollment period that is now available through coverme.gov, Maine's Affordable Healthcare Coverage Network. This is to tell you that the open enrollment period for 2023 has ended, as we indicated it did back in January, but you may be eligible to enroll in health insurance outside of that open enrollment period at this time of year if you've had a common qualifying event, such as loss of healthcare coverage, becoming a Maine resident, adding a dependent, or other qualifying factors noted there on your screen. Now, if you would like a list of special enrollment period eligibility criteria, there's also the website available through coverme.gov that you can visit. We're also available throughout the year here at ACAP to help any individuals who need to navigate the coverme.gov website and to help select an insurance plan that would work best for him and for you and learn about those variables. You can contact either Lisa Bates here at ACAP or Barb Rodriguez, or best just to give us a call at 764-3721 and ask about coverme.gov and the special healthcare enrollment period. In other matters, we're also reminding folks that local food resources continue to be available. We know that there has been a drastic reduction in the SNAP benefits for many households across Aroostook County as we continue to operate in this post-pandemic environment. There are community cupboards located across Aroostook County, including the one here at ACAP at our customer service center at 771 Main Street. We also have one inside of our facility in the Holton Center for ACAP at 91 Military Street. And there are others, as you can see here, across Aroostook County on your screen. There's also a food resource guide available through ACAP's website and physical copies available in our community cupboard at the 771 Main Street location. We are encouraging you to give us a call if you're having food insecurity challenges, to speak to a navigator to see what other services they might be able to connect you with as well. ACAP is also reminding folks out there that if you're slightly over income or within 300% of the federal poverty guidelines, which the household size and annual income rates can be seen there, you are now eligible or likely eligible for winter energy relief payments. We have a total of about over 1,400 of these payments, these one-time $800 payments that can go directly to households' fuel vendors that are qualifying. This is a special program designated especially for those who are over income for the traditional program like the Home Energy Assistance Program, who are operating at about a quarter of a tank or less of oil or of a quarter of their supply of whatever their heating source is and are just generally struggling with the high cost of oil and inflation on other matters to be able to afford their energy costs for their household right now. Again, it's a one-time $800 energy relief payment that goes on your fuel vendor bill. If you're struggling at all with this and think you might qualify, give us a call at 764-3721. We are also still taking applications, I should note, for the Home Energy Assistance Program, and that program has income eligibility guidelines as well. We encourage you to call us and we'll help get you in the program that's of most benefit that you qualify for. ACAP continues to also work on work experience and on-the-job training opportunities across Aroostook County. These include paid work experiences and on-the-job training. There are information there on the screen, but you can also visit us at acap-me.org to learn more about this. There are benefits here for both the participant as well as for the employer, including ACAP's opportunity and ability in a paid work experience to pay the salary of the individual while they are learning through you as the employer. If you have any questions, we are looking for new businesses that would like to get involved with this program, and it's a great opportunity to get qualified staff and get them into your employment with very low cost to you. We are also reminding folks that our workforce development team continues to offer programs and services remotely to employers and job seekers countywide. Our career counselors and coaches, I should say, which they've been renamed to, can help folks plan their next step. These workforce development folks offer programs and services, including educational and vocational training, assistance paying for tuition, books and other fees, workplace readiness, on-the-job training, as we just discussed, working towards a high school equivalency degree, paid work experiences, leadership training, assisting with things like childcare and travel, and helping folks sign up for health insurance or health coverage through the open marketplace or otherwise. Give us a call at 764-3721 or visit us at acap-me.org for more information about our workforce development services. And I just mentioned the Home Energy Assistance Program. The income qualification guidelines are there on your screen there. If you'd like to give us a call at 768-3053, that's a direct call into the Home Energy Assistance Program phone line. We are scheduling appointments same week at this point, so the likelihood of getting into an appointment right now is very good. And we encourage folks, especially those who have not applied in a few years because they're fearful that they will not qualify. Now is the ideal time to call, both in terms of getting in for an appointment, but if you do not qualify for HEAP, we will help work and process you to see if you qualify for the WERP or Winter Energy Relief Program. So the odds of receiving some support at this time are probably greater than they have been in a number of years, and we're encouraging folks to give us a call so that you're not suffering with not being able to pay your household energy bills. We are also reminding folks in these colder months about our community closet that continues year-round and is open 24/7 outside of our customer service center at 771 Main Street. It operates like the community cupboards we talked about in the give what you can, take what you need principle. So please feel free to come and leave clothing. You can leave it 24/7. However, if you are at our facility between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, we encourage you to bring those clothing items in so our volunteers can sort and get them out in good order. Again, this is available at our 771 Main Street Presque Isle location, our customer service location there. We are also reminding through our prevention team for folks who are having unwanted or unused medications in their household that they'd like to get rid of so they can keep their household safe, and that so they don't get into the hands of wrong individuals, including children, that you can dispose of those safely at your local police station. Medication can also be dropped off at selected pharmacies. There's more information about this on ACAP's prevention and wellness page of our website. There's also the availability to get expired medication taken care of by dropping them off at a take-back location or using a product like a Deterra drug deactivation pouch, which ACAP has some of those available for households. And continues to give those out to community members as asked for. And we are also reminding our community members about COVID-19 vaccines and tests that are regularly available to folks right now. The maine.gov/COVID-19/vaccines website has identified locations where you can get vaccinated. If you are unable to log in online and need some assistance with that, you can call 764-3721 and our reception team will help you access an appointment locally. There are also free tests available through two website locations, covidtest.gov and accesscovidtest.org, and those cycle on a regular basis. So if you haven't ordered in a month or so on one of those websites, odds are you can get additional tests sent free of charge to your home. We also have free COVID tests available through some of our main offices in Presque Isle, Fort Kent, and Holton. And if you are in need of any assistance, and we haven't mentioned it specifically here in this news and information that you can use segment of ACAP Today, please do give us a call at 764-3721. We have navigators who are available to help do just that, to navigate you to services, whether they're within our agency or with partner agencies outside of ACAP's walls that will help you with the services that you need. They're quite talented people who do work very hard to make sure that we get our customers connected with services that are available in the local community. And with that, that's this week's news and information that you can use again for the week of March 13th, 2023. We're now pleased to welcome to the program three individuals who have been working diligently and have been part of an effort over the last couple of years to bring a new of its kind, first of its kind, supportive housing complex to Aroostook County. It will be right here in Presque Isle, located at 1 Edgemont Drive, out near the airport and Northern Maine Community College. And it will be going online by next year at this time. We should have residents in that facility. But it's taken us a couple of years to get there, and I'm so pleased to welcome our partners in crime on this project, Locke, who's ACAP's Director of Advancement, who has been leading the charge to not only get the funding secured for this project, but in her role overseeing facilities has been overseeing a number of the details to get us to the point where we're ready to turn the building over to a contractor soon. Sherry, welcome back to ACAP Today.
Thank you, Jason.
Heidi Rackliffe is ACAP's Director of Programs, who oversees a multitude of programs, among them including the programs that directly work in the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center and the staff that directly works in the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center. Heidi, I know this has been a dream of yours, and I'm so excited to welcome you back to the program as we are close to, on the precipice of getting this project underway and into fruition sometime soon.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And lastly, but certainly not least, our good friend and partner, an honorary member of the ACAP team at this point for all the work that she's done on this project, Mandy with B.R. Smith and Associates here in Presque Isle, that has done so much work on all ACAP facilities across Aroostook County and was the first team member, external partner that we signed on board after working with Maine Housing to make this project become reality. And it is so good to be here with you as we're I don't know how you'd see it, Mandy, just about at the beginning of the finish line or at the start line at this point. So
A little bit of both, I think, is the best answer. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's great. So Heidi, I want to begin with you because really sort of the brainchild for this program and the impetus for this program is always based with a community action agency upon need and community need. And it was you and your work, first as a direct service worker with the agency and then working up through the ranks in the agency, that certainly discovered there was a need for this type of facility and a need for a supportive housing. So talk about, first of all, the need and what constitutes supportive housing.
Absolutely. I think days are different, and unfortunately housing has always been such a huge need, especially now. We unfortunately have an aging population and an aging housing market. We have very little affordable and a safe housing. I think safe is a key component because we have a lot of aging apartment buildings that unfortunately have either been condemned or no longer habitable. So it's created a structure, a change in the housing market because there's such a need. We have so many individuals that have housing assistance and subsidies attached that they can access, but they simply cannot find those units that are affordable, but also meet the expectations of the voucher to be able to be safe. So this has been an ongoing need for years, and it's probably hit a critical point. I don't think housing has ever been as critical as it is for the county right now, and for the state, but especially for the county. We see that firsthand. Our shelter, our local homeless shelter, is full to capacity, and we've never been at that point. That's a critical turn. We have to be able to do something to meet the community need and to rehouse that population so we can get the homeless shelter hopefully half full to where it has been previously. And we know that a project like this is going to be able to support that and reduce those numbers, that number for individuals. The supporting,
go ahead.
The supporting housing concept is actually something that's been kind of we know that there are individuals who need a little extra help, that are fully capable and confident of living on their own, but maybe need an extra support system to be able to read bills or understand the mail that's coming in, or help them get that extended employment or additional income in the household. The supportive housing was a way for us to be able to provide on-site services to those tenants within reducing all of the barriers so that they have easy access to obtain those services, one-stop shop kind of sort of thing. And so we're really excited to be able to have an extension of our Hope and Prosperity Center on the bottom floor of the apartments to be able to provide those services and extra support for the tenants that might need them, ensuring that they have a long-term successful housing component when they rent eventually from us at this unit.
And I think that those are some critical things to point out that you just indicated that differentiates this from, it's not a shelter, it's not a temporary shelter for individuals experiencing homelessness. It's also not what a lot of folks think of when they think of transitional housing as sort of between the two. It's really intended in some cases for housing to be for an extended period of time, as long as those supports are needed, and in some cases even after those supports are needed, if that's the case, correct?
Absolutely. We're walking into this being flexible. I think we're asked all the time, is this something that's a timed limit? Is this we're going in ensuring that a need is met. And if somebody has that need and they're still needing housing, we want to be able to provide that for them. If at some point someone graduates and says, I'm going to go hopefully purchase a house maybe someday, if that's something of that interests them, we can recycle that unit and provide that to somebody else to have their first starting point. And we're just really excited to be able to start the process, get people into the units and see where it takes us, but no time limit on your stay there. As long as there's a need for housing and we have a unit available, that's going to happen for that person.
And the way that the building is going to be structured, we're going to get into that with Mandy in just a bit, but is going to really facilitate both the utilization of the residents that are living in the 13 on-site units, but also be able to facilitate direct community use from individuals who might just come from up the street at the homeless shelter and need those services during the day, as we're currently providing at that location, and will be temporarily facilitating elsewhere in Presque Isle while the construction is going on, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the beautiful parts of this is, number one, it's in a great location. It's centrally located. It's very close to the local homeless shelter for those experiencing homelessness who if anybody needs more support and more help, it's those individuals, and we're happy to be able to offer that service really close in proximity, but also to the rest of the community. Our services that we provide at the center aren't just for individuals experiencing homelessness. It's a central spot for a number of services that we provide, mostly around housing and stability, but again, a lot of other supports. And we have that as a site to be able to provide computer access and phone capabilities. And of course, the service center, so our staff at various locations have the ability to go there and meet with individuals if transportation is a barrier. So it's really opening up and again, reducing that barrier for anybody to be able to access that site.
And now, Sherry Locke, you've been the one sort of leading the efforts to get us to the start of the finishing line, as Mandy and I indicated, with this project, to go from conception, dreaming to reality shortly, where it's going to be turned over to a contractor, and true reality, several months from now when we're completed at the construction. Talk about sort of the transition period of how we've come across this building, how we've been utilizing it, and how we've gotten to this point.
Yeah, and I think what you started the conversation with, Jason, about being based in community need, I think that's been the theme of the project the entire time. We've identified housing as a need. The Hope and Prosperity was born because of a community need and connecting folks who are experiencing homelessness to programs and services. So I think that's been the piece of it. So when ACAP services grew during the pandemic, our comprehensive service center, we increased the number of staff there, which meant that our administrative team needed a new home, if you will. So that was during the time where we identified Edgemont Drive as to be that, that property that we could move into so that we could have those back office supports for the program team that had expanded. That building was also then identified in the proper zone and could meet the needs for supportive housing, which would then house the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center. So over the past year or so, our administrative team, as well as our prevention team and the Hope and Prosperity Center, has really lived in that space. So we've made good use of that space during that time frame. Got to see, what the limitations are of that building and, what the benefits are of that location while we've been doing the fundraising and designing that building for the future, that supportive housing project. So we really have utilized it to its fullest capacity during that planning stage, that planning fundraising time. And like you said, now we're ready to turn it over to the contractor for really its intended purpose, which is that supportive housing.
And Mandy, that's really where you come in, is sort of that bridge between our dreams, our dreaming and living color dreams, and the point where we're going to be welcoming, hopefully by next year at this time, we'll have 13 supportive housing units online here in Presque Isle, and residents of in each of those. So talk about that process and that effort on behalf of BRSA.
Yeah, sure. So I think, it's been almost 2 years now since we started this journey. Really, the biggest hurdle has been just trying to adapt the building to go from what it is today, which is an office facility, to a supportive housing facility mixed with the Hope and Prosperity Center. So the building has 2 floors. The top floor will house the top 10 units that we have. There will be 7 studio units and 3. Are you sharing the screen? Perfect. We have 7 studio units on the main floor, 3 one-bedroom units. One of those one-bedroom units will be allocated to an ADA accessible unit. So there will be a bathroom and kitchen that is fully ADA compliant. And then in the, did you switch to the basement? You can go back to the basement.
I can, as I switched a little too quickly, so I wanted to make sure you were done with the
Okay. Yeah, so the main floor has those units, and then we have 3 additional units in the basement. All 3 of those units are studio units, which will essentially, a studio unit is one that the living and bedroom space is shared with a kitchen kind of all incorporated into one space. And then the 1-bedroom units have the bedroom that's about 10 by 12 standard bedroom size, separated from the remainder of the unit. In the basement, like I said, we've got 3 studio units. The rest of the space is dedicated to the new Hope and Prosperity Resource Center. That will have offices, a workstation, and we will also have a commercial kitchen and dining space and a little coffee bar, a couple of bathrooms and shower space. The basement will also house laundry facilities, which will be accessible from both those living in the units and those in the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center if necessary. And we also have a conference room and some storage space. So that kind of summarizes that primarily the renovations will be interior. We are doing some exterior work, new parking lot and maybe some landscaping to make the space feel a little bit more homey, but the bulk of the work will be on the interior of the facility.
While we're still on this slide and showing the functional flow space of the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center there on the right side of your screen, Heidi, talk a little bit about some of the critical features of this space that Mandy mentioned, the commercial kitchen, the workstations, and how it supports the actual work, including the offices around the perimeter, the actual work that goes on in this space each and every day.
So we're really excited. One of the benefits that we have when we have individuals access the center is we do offer meals on site for individuals to keep working through whatever there is that they're trying to achieve. So previously we didn't have a type of kitchen. So we've been very generous from various sponsors who had provided meals for us on site through our meal train program. But when that didn't happen, we got really creative with trying to prepare meals for what was on average, about 30 individuals, cooking off of hot pans and doing whatever we needed to do to be able to feed somebody a meal for them to be able to keep concentrating on the really important things and moves that they were doing to go forward with life. So I can tell you firsthand that the staff is going to be absolutely beyond thrilled to be able to have an actual kitchen to be able to cook for the residents and the customers that come in and utilize the space. Our workstations provide computer access and phone access, individualized computer labs to be able to sign up. As we know, everything's electronic these days, including access to a lot of many of the essential basic necessities that you need for programs. So if somebody needs to fill out an application to maybe obtain food stamps while they're waiting to try to get income so they can support themselves, there's an application process they can do online. Same with employment. We have people off-site that come in and provide classes that we have to be able to utilize this space to provide classes on hand and have the technology to be able to do that. Again, the laundry facilities and the shower, all really important things that we've never had prior to, that we're going to have more services to be able to access to somebody who may be of needing that type of assistance.
And Sherry, Heidi accurately mentioned when she was talking about the meal train, for example, the community support and the external support that we've been able to receive. That's not only true of the day-to-day operations of this facility, but in helping to get us through to this point where we're, again, about ready to turn this building over to a contractor to make these critical upgrades and get 13 units online.
Absolutely, Jason. The community has really supported this project, first through helping us identify what those community needs were, but then anytime we put out a need, whether it be the meal train or really cold days, the United Way dropping off baskets of hats and mittens and blankets. Our partners have really come through to help us get through this. This new center will really make life better for our staff and better for the customers that we serve by having everything set up a little bit better. Heidi mentioned the shower. That may seem like a luxury, but if someone is sleeping outside and don't have access to that, it's something that we've identified as a need, and now we're going to be able to make that a reality. Having members of our team come into that commercial kitchen and not only provide that meal, but to teach the residents that are there how to prepare a meal and, how to do so on a budget and how to, cook healthy meals, things like that. It's something that we've always wanted to do, and this space is going to allow us to be able to provide those services.
Now, Mandy, for the benefit of those folks who are watching us on this broadcast who aren't able to join in with us this week as we sort of unveil publicly what the functionality and the flow and what this space is going to look like and feel like for folks who are living there or folks who are receiving services at the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center there every day. Walk us through what this space is going to be like moving forward.
Sure. So each individual apartment will have, you can see here on your screen, we have in the top left-hand corner kind of a bird's eye view of what a typical studio apartment will look like. And directly below that, you'll see a kitchen cabinet rendering. So essentially each unit will have its own standalone kitchen. I'll have a refrigerator, a smaller apartment size stove, kitchen sink, and then all of the traditional cabinets. It'll have its own bathroom, which will include standard shower, sink, and toilet. We have plenty of closet space. There'll be coat closets and storage closets and bedroom closets. The larger one-bedroom units will be very similar to the studio units. Simply, it'll have an additional space for a bedroom. Finish-wise, we have in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the flooring that was selected. It's a luxury vinyl tile that has a concrete look. And in the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center, we're actually going to recapture the existing concrete floors with a nice new shiny epoxy coating that should give it a modern but also inviting environment. Cabinets will be all wood cabinets in the apartments with laminate countertops. And appliances will be stainless steel. We're really trying to provide a nice space for the individuals that live here. We're also doing some energy efficiency upgrades. The building will get new windows and new doors and insulation, a lot of air sealing to make this space warmer and easier to heat, which is going to be great for both tenants and ACAP in terms of energy efficiency. So off to your center, you'll see a rendering of the dining area. So in the Hope and Prosperity Center, we have the commercial kitchen, and there will be a serving window with a countertop, and then the individuals can take the food out of the serving window, and there will be a dining bar with stools and also some other furniture tables set up. Nice inviting place to have a meal and spend some time with some friends. And so we also have a coffee bar, smaller version of that with some microwaves that individuals can prepare meals and coffee and things, as well as we talked a little bit about the shower. So we feel like we have, there's also an elevator. Important point I should mention, there's an elevator that goes from between floors, which will provide ADA access and convenience access between floors for the individuals who live on the top floor, and also receiving services from the lower floor, or for those that live in the basement units as well. So lots of good things, and we're really hopeful that it'll be a nice warm space for everybody who uses the building.
Now, Sherry Locke, I want to call your attention to sort of our next talking point, which is the upper right-hand corner of what we have up on the screen right now, which are a listing or the logos of at least 3 of our partners, BRSA, with Mandy present with us. But we've had some other critical partners at the table that we certainly want to acknowledge and mention. at this point, without whom this project would certainly not be where it's at.
Absolutely. And we have been very fortunate to have supporters, all different shapes and sizes, if you will. We saw the logos for BR Smith. We saw the logo for Dovetail Consulting and Maine Housing. But we've also been very fortunate to have foundation support from the Rodney and Mary Barton Smith Family Foundation, which has been huge for us. It's allowed us to really focus on what the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center will look like and how that will meet the community needs. The city of Presque Isle has assisted us with a community development block grant, again, which was very helpful. And our first funding actually came in from the Maine Health Access Foundation, which was huge in allowing us to do the planning work to ensure that we were going to be able to meet the needs with this project. So collectively, I think that's everyone. But again, it's all of these parts and pieces coming together and us being able to orchestrate that to be able to make sure that this project is able to come into fruition, because it's, again, such a need here in Aroostook County.
So I'm going to have you each take us through the varying timelines that exist with this. Sherry sort of taking us through the timelines of the ACAP adventure that is like moving out, coming back to this facility and the like. Mandy taking us through the construction parameters and time frame, and then Heidi taking us through the service delivery and what happens with the services that we're going to continue to deliver and then resume delivery at that facility. So Sherry, let me start with you first of all, with the moving parts and pieces of the agency and what happens from here on in moving forward.
Yeah, so at this point, we are actually moving staff out of the One Edgemont Drive building. The goal is to have everyone out by the 27th of March so that the building can then be turned over to the contractor. Timeline for that is looking to be like early April. Again, that's really a pivotal point for this project. We've been planning and working hard for the last 2 years to get there, but turning that project over to the contractor in April. Existing ACAP staff is moving to a new facilities, again, because we always knew that the housing project was the goal in order to do that. You know, our administrative staff, our prevention staff, and temporarily the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center have had to move in order to make that happen. So as of April 1, Mandy's team will take over the building and start their work.
So before I get to what Mandy's team and the contractor is going to do at One Edgemont Drive, Heidi Rackliffe, in relation to what Sherry Locke just mentioned, talk about the program service delivery elements and how those are going to continue seamlessly through this effort.
So yeah, all of the programs that we were offering at the center are still being offered at our new location that we're using temporary until we are able to get these functions. We've been really flexible. I've been incredibly proud of the staff's dedication with the consistent moving. I think we've gotten really good at moving lately. And we know that we're always moving for a better cause and for something that can benefit the community. So just really proud of their attitude for always packing up and moving again. And so this doesn't stop here. We continue to do our services, our housing stability, housing navigation team, rapid rehousing, all of the centers that our services we provide at Hope and Prosperity Center, just pick up and move temporarily for the year that it takes to hopefully do the construction until we're excited to start the process of looking through applications to house our first 13 people into the units. And it'll be definitely a day to celebrate when we get to that point.
Yeah, I think, Heidi, it's important to note that by the time that the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center returns to One Edgemont Drive early 2024, maybe late 2023, it will be the fifth home it will have had, or a return home since it opened its doors in 2019, first at 771 Main Street, then the pandemic hit and your entire team moved into overnight shelter operations at the University of Maine at Presque Isle and the gymnasium there for a period of time. Then Hope and Prosperity Resource Center services moved over to a temporary location further in the Industrial Council, closer to the airport. Then dually to One Edgemont Drive and offering additional services at area hotels remotely and consecutively. To One Edgemont Drive, 480 Main Street for the period of time during the construction, and back to One Edgemont Drive. I bet you and your team are glad that it's going to come off of the wheels.
I don't even think we know how to not move at this point. And I didn't even realize that many stops had existed. So that was kind of shocking to hear it like that, but you were correct.
Your roadmap, it kind of goes like this.
It has been.
All right, so Mandy, the most exciting part, because part that I enjoy watching happen the most is the transformation of these facilities. We've been so fortunate, I've been so fortunate to work with you on some recent projects just in the pandemic timeframe alone, at the reorientation of our customer service center at 771 Main Street to better facilitate customer service in a post-pandemic era. And then, of course, the wonderful changes that have happened at the Goulville Early Care and Education Center to really help restore that building to its former glory have all been BRSA-led projects. But this one is probably, of those three, the most far-reaching and sweeping in terms of a building transformation.
Most definitely. This is a larger scale project for sure. We just went through the bid process here recently and are happy to have a contractor on board. It's going to be DeVoe Construction out of Eagle Lake, and the rest of the team, the subcontractors, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, are primarily all Aroostook County based companies. So this is going to be a really great project, not just for ACAP, but also in supporting local businesses and Aroostook County suppliers. So we are looking at starting, I think we've said a couple of times so far, April 1st is our goal for getting in there and starting demolition. So, you know, for a little while, the building's not going to look too pretty, but we will, it's pandemic, post-pandemic era has certainly come with its challenges on products and getting our hands on products and lead times. So one of our first challenges will certainly be getting things ordered. That takes a little bit longer to get here, but that's already been considered and is on the radar so that we can keep the project moving along. And so looking at starting demolition in April, May, and hopefully things will start coming together. We'll start closing in some walls by July, August, and maybe Thanksgiving, Christmas time, it'll really start to look like something. And shortly into the new year, we'll be complete. Fingers crossed.
That's the next time Sherry Locke will step foot in the building. I'm just saying.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Like
Sherry doesn't want to see it all just skin and bones here. As
opposed to you, Heidi, and I, Mandy, who will be going over weekly with our hard hats on. Heidi, that hair is going to have to survive the hard hat right there.
I think it's really a cool experience to see what it starts out as, what it looks like when it's completely gutted and you barely recognize it anymore, and seeing it get built back. It's probably the highlight of my work days, is getting to see the finished product.
I mean, just for the photographic log of the progress, like the time-lapse photography.
We'll bring our cameras, definitely.
Oh, yes, we definitely will. We'll take pictures for you, Sherry.
She probably doesn't want to see them.
So what have we missed, team? Anything else that we've missed about this project that we want to make sure folks know before we leave them? Nothing. All right.
I think we're good. I just patience. Obviously, we're starting. We still have time for it to go through the process, but as soon as we are ready to go and starting applications, we will be the first to ensure that the community is aware of that and incorporated in the progress as we go along. So
perfect.
Took a long time to get here. Excited to finally be here. A little bit more time to get us to the finish line.
Indeed. All right. Well, Sherry Locke, Heidi Rackliffe, Mandy Pooler from BRSA, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of ACAP Today to really give a good glimpse at an exciting project. I'm sure we will have you back on, if not before we're nearing the end of the construction on this project, certainly at some point in between now and then, to get an update on how things are going. Thanks to all three of you for all of your work to get us to this point. It's much appreciated. Before we leave you, the three of you and all of you out there, we first share with you our snapshot of the week from out and about in the agency last week. And our snapshot of the week this week takes us to our Holton Early Care and Education Center, where they were celebrating Dr. Seuss with a snack and a cat in the hat, as you can see right there. There's one of the wonderful children that we have the pleasure and honor of having entrusted into our care each and every day at our Early Care and Education Center in Holton, and we thank all of our families for entrusting their children in their care to us, and most importantly, all of our professionals across the agency, whether they work with young children such as this, or whether they're helping seniors get heating assistance, or the number of other things that our team members are doing across Aroostook County each and every day. We thank our hats off, our Dr. Seuss cat in a hat off to you this week as we end this week's edition of ACAP Today. And with that, that is this week's edition. We'll be back next week with a brand new edition of ACAP Today. Until then, have a great week, everyone.